Hey guys, Jeremy from APR Welding Academy here. In today's video, I'd like to explain to you why becoming a welder in today's day and age is in your best interest. So stay tuned. My top reason for enjoying the trade so much is the fact that I get to work with my hands every single day. I enjoy building things, I enjoy creating things, and I really enjoy the finished products of things. So, for example, I'm building a mini jet boat, putting a 300 horsepower motor in it, and I'm literally just gonna beat it down a river. And the reason I'm not worried about beating this $50,000 boat down a river is because I could fix it, or I could rebuild it, or I could make it better. That's one thing that amongst many as to why I enjoy the trade so much. I can build just about anything with my hands. Sometimes the only thing that I'm limited to is equipment. However, most of the time I could usually figure out another way or another process that I could use in order to still make that happen. Nowadays, I'm not so limited by equipment because I own a school that has all of this equipment that I need. So in today's video, I asked a special guest to come and talk to us about his story and what he's done since graduating from APR Welding Academy. This individual has kind of a right around the world type of career path that he's taken, but he's taken the opportunities in the unique situation that he is in. All right, so Jake is on his way here right now. Jake is one of my previous students of APR Welding Academy, and Jake has a pretty unique story to tell us of, his career path that he's taken since he's graduated from here. He's only been graduated for about a year now, give or take a month. I believe they graduated just into February. However, in these 11 months that he's been graduated from here, he's had quite the career path. In today's video, I want to talk about the diversity of welding and the career in welding, and Jake is a perfect example of that. Jake has kind of taken the plunge to knowing that, welding isn't just about welding. A lot of different careers need welders in their job path, right? So what I mean by that is, every other trade out there, depending on obviously what the trade is, need welders. So they need welders in construction, they need welders in the electrical field, they need welders with millwrights, they need welders just about in every aspect of the trades in general. So Jake took advantage of that when nobody else would. Now, don't get me wrong, welding in general is extremely high in demand. However, if you're willing to do more than just weld, the opportunities are endless. So Jake, literally right out of school, I believe they graduated that same week, and he went and handed in a resume to somebody that visited the school to talk about how they needed welders. Well, then they didn't really talk about wages when they came here. They didn't really talk about opportunities. They didn't talk about perks of the job, nothing like that. Jake was curious. So Jake went there and basically discussed with them the opportunity of working for them. And this is his story. So then you were kind of explaining earlier that in the specific place that you're working, I'll go and steel, the only way that you can become a welder, or at least right now, as far as you know, without them knowing that 600 people are retiring in the next few years, what's going to happen when we don't have any welders, right?
Right now, yeah, they want red seal, but I think there's going to be a point where there's not going to be enough red seal guys here.
I agree. I definitely see that happening.
Out of town.
I definitely see that happening in the next few years. It's something I plan on kind of jumping on as far as a business owner because, I do train for the red seal. So what I see a lot of is people that, didn't quite get grandfathered in, but still have to write the red seal. So people that have been welding, let's say for 20 years or 50 years.
I know a lot of those guys that great welders.
Exactly. They're amazing welders. They have all the knowledge, but they can't pass a written test for the life of them. We're tradespeople, right? I mean, honestly, if you put a test in front of me that I wasn't familiar with, especially a red seal, because there's so much information to know on them, I would probably come close to failing it too, because even though I do teach it all and I do go over the knowledge all the time, it's just something that we aren't people who write exams for a living.
We had the pipe fitters, iron workers, the steel plant.
Yeah, exactly.
You could go work non-union if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Tons of those jobs available.
tons. Yeah, there's tons of opportunities.
The mines called me too. I had Westone was calling me like crazy, wanted me to go weld out there. So
Actually, the last I talked to you, you were supposed to be going to the
I was
mine.
gonna go, yeah, and then
I just remembered that because you had told me that you were going to go and work in the mines, and then I actually just found out 2 days ago that you were working in the steel plant.
yeah. So I was like, do I want to go and put myself back out of town on a rotation again?
Right. So tell me a little bit about your experience getting into the pipe fitters union, and then ended up making the decision to go. Well, sorry, but I thought you got an opportunity to get
I
in.
had it, yeah, because they started calling me too. I put in a resume there at the same time I did the ironworkers. The ironworkers took me in right away, basically, maybe a couple week window where I had to wait, but
Right.
and they were great to me, so I stayed there. But I still went up just to entertain the offer. I went up and seen them at the pipe fitters, did a couple 8-inch pipe welds, and I guess they liked it, so I got offered work right there. But
Right.
then that was the same time the plant was calling me, and I kind of would have stayed with the ironworkers.
So many
anyways.
opportunities.
Yeah, there's everything was going on. Westone was calling me,
Right.
and more or less just went up there to see if I could weld pipe.
Yeah.
So
And I
it was
mean, it is
more of
cool,
a
right?
challenge to myself. I went up there, did that, and then I'm like, well, sorry, I probably wasn't going to take the offer anyways, but
But hey, I tried.
now I know I can kind of weld pipe.
Yeah, it's another option down the road. And I mean, even if you do get your red seal as a welder, and the steel plant wants you, like they need pipe welders like crazy right now. And
Yeah.
even though you don't do a ton of pipe in there, they usually do get the unions to come in and do the pipe welding. They still need pipe welders, right? They still need
they
guys
have-
to hold tickets.
They
and-
got guys in Central, yeah.
yeah, and they have really good welders in there. So you can learn a lot from those guys too. If you go in pipe welding, let's say you're not pipe welding all the time, but it's every once in a while you get a little bit of a exciting thing you get to do and something different in your trade, but then also you get to learn how to pipe weld kind of slowly through your career.
Yeah.
And then anytime you're not pipe welding, they'll probably have you structural welding.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
a pipe welder has to hold the CWB ticket as well, so structural ticket, right? So not only that, you'd be coming here and they'd be paying you to train to weld pipe.
Yeah,
So that'd be awesome.
definitely open to welding pipe. A little prejudice though, I'd be still swinging towards the ironworkers.
Hey man, it is 100% your decision. You have
Yeah.
a million offers on the table right now.
But I mean, they're steady though, so if anybody coming out of here, that's where I'd recommend going.
Yeah.
Probably straight to the ironworkers. They'll keep you
yeah,
you going.
tons of opportunities out there, and it's structural welding too, right? It's not just like you're welding for fun or welding for certain things like rebar, for example. Like it'll never get seen again.
Yeah.
It's covered in concrete,
With
right?
the ironworkers, we were all over.
Yeah.
You'd go in there one day, do one job, and then a couple months later, you'd go and see. Yeah, I just welded that thing over there, this
Yeah.
far back, and
Well, and
cool,
like
it's
I
still holding
I
up.
recently went into the steel plant to do a procedure, a welding procedure. And while I was in there, I was walking around and I kind of seen a couple of the welds that I did when I was there. And I haven't been in there for like 6-7 years. I can imagine
Yeah.
the guys that welded in the 70s in there. And now they go in there and see their welds from back then. Like, it's just a different kind of excitement that you feel when you see something that you built that long ago. 100% it's your work. Because like every welder knows, it's like an artist, right? We have our own signature things that we do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you go in there and you see it, like, oh yeah, that was definitely my weld. And,
You look,
and then you
it's
look and your stamp is beside it. You're like,
vertical. It's your weave. You can tell the way you
exactly,
work your
yeah,
power.
exactly. And I even do like 6G positions a certain way. So like, yeah, it was, it's definitely cool to see.
Yeah. It's not like where you're building something. You're made out of wood. It's gonna rot over the years. It's gonna.
Yeah, you go and look at it, you're like, oh yeah, looks like shit. But meanwhile, the day you were done it, it looked
Oh,
awesome.
great. But you do your welds properly, your welds are gonna be around for quite a while.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing, so when you left, now I guess you didn't fully leave. You transitioned into the steel plant.
Yeah.
How did that opportunity come?
Actually, that was funny. I seen my buddy's brother-in-law in the grocery store. I said, so who do I got to get a resume to potentially make the switch over to here? And he's like, well, just me. Send me your resume. So
No way.
sent him my
Perfect.
resume, and he sent it in for me. But coincidentally, they called me at the same time off a resume that I submitted
Years ago.
And so when they called, they said, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, actually, I've already went to school now. Got my welding tickets.
Yeah.
So many hours in with the ironworkers, the carpenters. They're like, okay. So now I'm basically just waiting to be placed.
Right. And I mean, once you get that red seal too, like you're planning on challenging your red seal.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'll come back. I'll do whatever extra courses I got to do, or even just extra training. And
Yeah. Take the plunge because it'll be a payoff for you, right? It's something that you want to do. It's something you enjoy doing.
everything's an investment with this career. It
100%.
seems like you can never have too many tickets. You can never.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Never do too much.
I couldn't agree more. Cool. So then, yeah, once you got in the steel plant, I mean, now you're working in the coke ovens, you said?
Yeah.
So you're working in the coke ovens. What's your pay and benefits, pension? How is all that?
Our pay started out about the same as what I was getting paid when I was welding at the Carpenter. So we're making about $39 an hour, just entry level. Our benefits start day one. We got those
Really?
right away, like 100%, almost 100% benefits for everything. Yeah.
And they got pretty good benefits too, right?
Yeah. Pension not quite as good as the iron workers, but
Right.
that's why.
I heard that the coke ovens pension did they get rid of that?
They
They
got rid
had
of
their
that.
own pension for a little while, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, not that you want to stay there forever anyways, but
No, now they're giving us incentive though. If we were to sign on for the next 4 years, then they're going to give us an extra 10% of our wages a year. So that's paid out every February. So that would be roughly 50,000 over the 4 years.
wow. Nice.
But you can't post out for 4 years. Then you're taking a risk for when the EAF comes in.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It could work out in your
That's
favor.
a tricky one.
Yeah. I
Right.
haven't really decided on that yet. But
Well, the nice thing is, though, like you working towards your red seal, you're never going to be out of work. Like, even if something did happen, I hope it doesn't because the steel plant is the heart of this town. If anything did happen, you have tickets, you have a red seal, you can go anywhere. You can work anywhere, you'll always make good money. We're high in demand and it's not going anywhere. Like I said, the baby boomers retiring is a big deal. It's harder on our economy than most people think. And it's only going to get worse in the next couple of years. It might get better in the next 10 years.
even in the plant, we have 600 guys, I think, coming up on retirement. So
600 guys.
they've been putting.
How many
through
people do we even
classes.
have working there total?
I think around 2,000 now, between 2 and
Jesus.
2,000,
So
2,500.
a quarter of the staff of welders is going to be, well, I guess not just welders, but still,
That'd be the
a
plant
quarter of the
total,
staff is going to be retiring this year. So no wonder they want to get that electric arc furnace done. They know they're not going to have tradespeople in the next few years. Like, I believe I have some statistics here that in the next little bit, let me just figure out the exact, wrote down some statistics here about the baby boomers. So by 2028, every single baby boomer will be retired.
Perfect.
I mean, learn what you can from them now. They have a lot of knowledge soaked in for the last, whatever, 50, 60, 70 years that they've been working as a welder. So, I mean, obviously that's something you want to absorb from them. But also, I mean, for example, if you were to go to a traditional college right now, you wouldn't hit the field until 2025. That's why I believe so much in my course, is because in 6 months, you get the same accreditations, the same amount of hours, same everything.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you can submit those hours to go towards your apprenticeship, which is something I'm going to be talking to you about for as well.
Courses too. Like you're
Well,
not
and you're
taking
not
parenting, carrying around a baby when you're going to be a welder, a fake
Exactly.
baby.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny, I actually took that course. But
I remember you saying that.
yeah, so I mean, and it's a lot of, like, this is almost like a non-traditional kind of learning experience. You're only learning about what you need for the trade, and you're learning every aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to be an iron worker, a pipe welder, whatever it is that you want to be, and of course there's extra courses you can take on top of that.
Carpenter welder now.
Yeah, carpenter welder. You could be a welder for the millwrights, a welder for the electricians. There's so many different paths you can take.
Boilermakers Union,
And like, you got to remember, the trade that is in such high demand is just welding. However, all other trades around us, the other top 10 trades, are also in the same predicament as we are.
Yeah.
However, there's certain trades that have even higher numbers of in-demand things they need. So imagine them trying to find an in-demand trade specialty for electrical welding, especially for, carpenter welding, or specialty for ironworker welding.
just getting your tickets opens the door for everything. Like I know the ironworkers now don't even really want people unless they have their welding tickets. I mean, if you got years or time experience as an ironworker, I'm sure they'll make the exception.
But it makes sense. I mean, you're already in demand. The last thing they want to do is spend time on you training you when they know that there's 20 people coming out of APR every 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they would rather take their chances on that than have to train that guy for 6 months for him to maybe not even work out, because he still doesn't know any of the theory background of it, right?
Yeah.
He might be able to weld, he might be able to lay a bead, but he doesn't know why it is. And, he might go and weld on a 1-inch plate without preheating. And next thing you know, the metallurgy comes involved, and the guy causes a catastrophic failure that now relies on who trained him, right?
Yeah.
So, or the union that hired him.